And I'm Jim Woodward. I'm a clinical social worker, and I really like helping people solve these problems. Like to me, this is like if you got a panic disorder, I agree with you. You got to get some help and figure it out. And solving it is a heck of a lot easier than living with it. So we're doing this podcast because I relax when I talk to Janell, just kind of shooting the bull about stuff. So it's great to have you here, and it's a pleasure to see you.
So I'm Janelle. I am a nurse. I work at a VA hospital, and I had panic when my twin died, and I also had a life full of stressors. It built up. I came to see this wonderful social worker, Jim Woodward, who's sitting next to me, and he helped me with my panic, and he helped me to get rid of it. And he also wrote this fantastic book called False Alarm. But anyway, I have been panic free for several years now. I worked hard to not have the panic, but also I think without Jim, I would have never gotten over it. So thank you, Jim.
You're welcome. It was a pleasure to help you and to see you like on top of your game. It's
Keep trying.
it's great to see. And I like what you said when you said I saved your life.
Yeah, you totally did.
Yeah.
You totally saved my life because I thought I want to check out. I
Really?
mean, you're just miserable with panic. And I'm like, somebody's got to help me with this, or I am not going to make it. I cannot live my life like this. And you said it's not going to be forever.
Yeah.
And you were right. Yeah.
This is really solvable.
Mm-hmm.
You
You
know?
said, nope, you're not going crazy. That was what you kept telling me over and over. You're not going crazy. You're having panic. It's not a good feeling. It's treatable. It'll get better in a few months.
Uh-huh. And it did.
And it did. Yeah. And it did.
Yeah, it's a mystery, but it's really solvable, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think anybody that has panic disorder attacks that's not getting therapy is really missing the boat.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. I think you really need to have someone who's trained in helping someone with panic. I think it would be wise to, to get therapy because
Yeah.
I think it's necessary.
And y-
Yeah.
and you don't have to. I mean, to get better, you don't have to go into every problem you ever had.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's just enough to know that what you've been through's added up on you. You know.
Hmm. Yeah, it all starts making sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, just revisiting childhood. I mean, I don't know that I had a childhood trauma. There was a little bit. It wasn't severe, but I really don't even want to revisit that.
Yeah.
It's
And and,
like, it feels like another lifetime.
and you don't have to. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, it just feels like another lifetime.
Okay, so think about this. One of the things I'd like to talk about today is how you can have panic and it comes across as a lot of other things. People get diagnosed with all kinds of different problems when I think what they really have is a panic disorder that's not identified yet.
Hmm.
Like, what else did you think you had?
I kept thinking I had stomach issues going on.
Uh-huh.
Like I kept blaming it on gastritis or a gallbladder issue or the chest pain, being fairly in shape and younger. That was like, I'm not sure, maybe it's a heart thing. I didn't know, so that part was, but definitely the stomach thing. And then I think sometimes not even knowing what I thought I had was scary. Just knowing something didn't feel right.
Okay, so I'm treating this fella, and he has 30-year firefighter up in Montana. So he saw some big big fires.
Yeah.
And he tells me this story that he was dropped in with a bunch of buddies by helicopter, and there's forest fire going on. And as they come in, he sees this bear. Okay. And so they're out there all alone,
Oh my God.
and a forest fire's going on,
Oh
which
my
is
God.
which is his job.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's this bear that won't leave him alone.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. And they try to shoo him off, and they try to shoo him off. And he's a black bear. Okay. The black bears are supposed to be the ones that don't bother you so much.
Right.
You can shoo them away.
They're supposed to be the friendlier of the bears.
No luck.
Oh no.
Okay. This bear was after him.
Oh gosh.
And he won't stay away. So part of their supplies, I'm just telling you this story because this is how much stress he dealt with for 30 years, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this part of their supplies, they give him a shotgun. So this bear's charging him.
Oh my goodness.
He gets within 15 feet
Oh
and they kill him. Okay. But, I mean,
my gosh.
but the bear had come into the camp and eaten a bunch of their supplies. So
True story. This
yeah,
is a true story.
true story.
Oh gosh.
So they ate the bear.
Oh my
They
gosh.
ate the bear. And
That's crazy.
it just happened to be blueberry season.
Uh-huh.
So evidently when bears dine on blueberries, they're really tasty. Anyway, so he had had a bunch of traumas like that. But when he came to see me, what he thinks he has is dementia.
Wow.
Okay,
That's interesting. And how old is he?
66.
Okay, so he could have dementia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he thinks he does because he can't remember anything. He can't sit in the chair. He jumps up, moves around,
Huh.
you know.
Uh-huh.
And then I do EMDR with him. Okay, the eye movement stuff. And I mean, I don't know if he has dementia or not, but after one session like that, he was able to sit in the chair
So
instead of
that's
jumping
helpful.
up and going to the door and so forth. So my point in this story is people can think they have all kinds of things, stomach trouble, you know, nervousness, and it can really be, the underlying thing can really be panic, you know,
Yeah.
that comes in a lot of different forms, and people don't want to recognize what they actually have. And then, so he went to the doctor in between sessions, and he found out that he doesn't have dementia.
Well, that's good.
That's a big relief.
Yeah, that's a relief.
He's got a 66-year-old brain, but he doesn't have dementia.
So that's good.
So I see all kinds of things that people don't know they have panic. Like you didn't know you had it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just know something's not right.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't right.
Yeah. And I mean, so panic can come across as heart attack. 25% of the people that go to emergency rooms think they're having a heart attack and they have panic disorder. You know?
Oh, yeah. The heart thing is uncomfortable. The chest pain, and yeah. And you think, okay, was it something I ate or heartburn, you know, or maybe even I have some kind of thyroid issue going on. I mean, everything runs through your mind.
So you see a lot of people at the VA. And do some of them have panic?
There's a couple that have panic right now that I see. One of them has panic, and then the panic turned into agoraphobia. Okay, so he still has it severely. And one of the reasons he has it severely is he smoked for years because of the stress, and now he can't breathe. So imagine not being able to breathe and having panic. He can't swallow well, because of the mucus. But then also, when I had panic, I could never swallow normally. you know, I don't know about other people, but for me, I could never, this never felt right here. It was tight, and it just felt like something was caught right there,
Yeah.
so, but this is definitely a veteran of mine who, it's so sad, this many years, he's still battling panic and anxiety. It's so but it's interesting how it started, but the panic never left. It just manifested itself into, oh, well, now I can't breathe and now I can't, you know what I mean? I don't want to go outside. And it's really sad to see someone that has had it for that long. I want to help them to get out of it, because it's been years now. So,
So I don't think I'm a little different than some people that treat PTSD. Okay, because a lot of times, as you know from working at the VA, a lot of the treatment is let's talk about those traumatic
yeah,
incidents.
yep, it's true.
Let's talk about them. Let's process it. Let's relive it.
Yeah,
Let's get it behind you by reliving it. And like I've got a different way of dealing with it. Like,
what say you?
yeah, yeah.
Because
So
they always say group therapy, and I have veterans that are like, no.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to tell you about this one fellow that I treated, and he got in an accident, and he got thrown from the truck, and he digs his fingers in to try to stop himself.
Oh my goodness.
So his hands are all burned.
Oh,
Hands are all
terrible.
burned, and when he stops, his are out of his
Oh
stomach.
my gosh, that's crazy.
And the first time I talked with him, he says, "I don't want to talk about it. And I don't want to think about it." And that was the theme of our therapy. So he never had to talk about it. He never had to think about it. Because that's not the problem, okay? The problem is he felt helpless and powerless and weak, you know?
So he didn't talk about it, didn't want to do anything that had to do with that. So what could you do to help him then? I mean,
We talk about feeling helpless and powerless and weak, because it wasn't the trauma, it's what the trauma did to his thinking about himself.
wow.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to go into the trauma and relive it,
Right.
I think what happens with the trauma, like war, I mean, who isn't helpless in war?
Yeah, exactly.
Who isn't helpless?
How could you? Yeah.
The guy right next to you gets killed and you don't. Like it's not because you're a good soldier.
No, it's just, yeah.
It's because you happen to be
You just,
a foot away.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like gambling. You're just gambling. You're out there, you don't even know what's going to happen,
But I think the proper way to feel when you're in a war, now I've never been in a war, okay? But it's
Me neither.
helpless.
Yeah. Oh, I could imagine. And your cortisol level would just be through the roof.
I mean, so that
Yeah.
there's nothing, I mean, it's good thinking to feel helpless,
Yeah.
and lucky. But
Yeah.
but I don't think you need to go into, I mean, if somebody wants to talk about it, great. They probably need to. But I don't think you need to hold their, foot to the flame, to make them do it or encourage them to do it or drag
No,
it out of them,
I agree. I agree.
So,
I think everyone's different,
yeah.
I mean, they know that memory's there. Maybe they just don't want to bring it up. you know? I
And
mean,
I'm not sure it doesn't just re-traumatize
I
them.
agree, you know, why relive it, you know? I mean, move on, move forward if you can, you know?
So, so panic can hide from you. I mean, you can be having this stuff going on, but you can think it's a heart problem. You can think it's a psychiatric problem. You can think you're just weak,
Yeah.
or you can think like I've got this one gal in therapy, and she's going to mental
Yeah.
health treaters,
Hmm.
and they've got her diagnosed with all these
So
things.
they really did diagnose her with this stuff?
She's got those diagnoses,
Huh.
and she's coming in to see me, and I'm going, it sounds a lot like panic to me. You know
Yeah,
what I
it
mean?
doesn't sound like those.
And I said, and I hope it is.
Yeah.
Why would you hope it's panic? I said, because that's a lot more
It's
treatable.
treatable. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how we're approaching it as a panic disorder. So,
So
it doesn't
what
mean
are you doing for her then? I mean, what's helping her?
treating her panic, teaching her about it.
Like, is she doing what I did and trying her best to avoid it, or like everyone does?
Yeah. I mean, who wants to have it?
Right.
But,
Who wants to go to the ER
yeah,
over and over again?
been to the
No one
ER.
wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Only to
my,
find out that you're normal. Yeah.
but my point is, it can really hide from you.
Yeah, it can.
It can come, and it can hide from treaters.
The first time it happened to me, I was literally just sitting in someone's driveway, having a good time in the evening. I think it was around the 4th of July. And all of a sudden, this just wave kind of came over me. I didn't even know what was happening. It was weird. It was just, but it wasn't a pleasant feeling. It was like, ooh, I just feel like really scared. Just feel weird. And then that was the beginning of it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were under a lot of
Oh,
stress.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't like the bear, like where the bear was chasing me like that one guy. It was just, I was just sitting there and it was a very uncomfortable feeling of just being scared. I mean, I was just really scared.
yeah.
But then so much had happened. So, yeah, I think it can come, it just shows itself in so many different ways.
And you're used to being really strong.
Yeah.
You're used to being able to fight your way through things.
Oh, yeah. I mean, going through divorces and, I mean, my dad died young and nursing school was stressful and, just a lot of
Yeah,
things in my life, just moving a lot. And you know, I think it was a buildup, like you had told me, that mountain that you showed me
yeah,
where you just, it's like it stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks.
yeah.
And then, with Janine, that was it for me. That was it. And then I think I told you, sh- before I came in to see you, I had choked on a piece of meat. I had an allergic reaction to some kind of seafood. My daughter was diagnosed with a heart dysrhythmia, and then, my twin's death, which I was I mean, it was just stacking up like crazy. So honestly, for me, I didn't even give a damn what the diagnosis was. I just wanted help. You know what I mean? I just wanted somebody to help me. Because you do
And you were getting a lot of help.
feel like you're going crazy. You're like, oh wow, something's not right.
Yeah.
Something, I don't know what it is, but something doesn't feel right.
So it's one of the worst problems to have, really, in terms of
Oh, it's terrible.
takes a toll on you,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
does. Yeah.
On the other hand, I find that it's one of the easiest ones to fix, to really get over once you really understand what's going on.
Yeah. I think I argued with you that you weren't going to fix me, but you said, yes, I am. This is curable.
Yeah.
You said no, you're not, because I'm like, am I going to have this the rest of my life?
When you kept, I mean,
I don't want this the rest of my life.
you're a nurse. You kept thinking medical,
Yeah, I
you know?
did. Yep. I had completely trashed my insides on diagnoses. So
I
like,
know.
and then it all turned out fine, you know.
I mean, I remember how much you were going to the doctor and
Oh, it was
emergency
terrible.
rooms and
Yeah, it was
yeah,
bad. Yeah. I mean, but at least if you do have panic and you end up in the ER, I mean, they'll check your heart, they'll check your thyroid, they'll check your blood pressure. I mean, they'll check to make sure the other things are okay. So, I mean, I guess that's a good thing,
yeah, but
just to
but how
make sure.
many times do you need to go?
I know.
How
How
many
many
times?
times?
How much?
Yeah.
How many times do you have to be
I
told
think
your
after
heart's
my
okay?
third time, I'm like, I'm tired of this. I just want to stay home and watch TV.
But isn't it simpler to just deal with the panic?
Yeah, yeah. It's really hard when you can't breathe.
Yeah,
That's probably the worst thing because your heart rate calms down, but man, when you can't breathe, well, yeah, it's just,
like the guy you were talking about, you know, the
oh,
vet.
yeah. And I want to fix that for him because I know all that gunk. I mean, he's not lying. That's really in there. And then the panic on top of it. I mean, I feel bad for him because I want to, I know his panic would get better. But then on the other hand, feeling all of that, I'm sure that's not helping his panic. So,
It's
yeah.
very personal at that point, you know.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's just, yeah. I really wished I could help him, but it's just, I don't know on that one
Yeah,
because of all the other stuff going on. So I have tried. I have tried,
yeah,
but
that
yeah.
that not being able to breathe is
Oh, I
like
don't, I know.
very personal.
Yeah, he's there. He has his oxygen. So I don't push anything anymore. With people with panic, you just have to let them kind of like go at their own speed. You were talking to me, talking to me, talking to me. I wasn't listening. And then finally, I'm like, okay, well, he might know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
you know, he probably knows what he's talking about. He's been doing this forever.
I know, but you keep thinking it's something else, because
Yeah,
how I mean, but that panic is really pretty simple. I mean,
yeah.
you so you get these chemicals, they come out of the blue, okay? And
It's
the reason
fast.
the
Yeah,
reason they come out of the blue
it's fast.
is you think you've dealt with all this stuff that's stacked up.
Mm-hmm.
So so when it comes out of the blue, it's like nothing caused it. See what I
Yep.
mean? But it's really reassuring to people if you can say, well, you were dealing with this and
Mm-hmm.
this and this, and it added up on you. And then when it adds up, when those chemicals hit, like you don't want to go, well, this is nothing.
Yeah.
You think the worst thing you can
You
imagine.
do. You think
Yeah.
that, oh, I mean, this is terrible. I'm dying. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. And yeah, and then it just is, you're in the cycle.
Yeah.
I sometimes wonder if I'd have gotten therapy when I was younger and going through all this, if maybe it would have prevented the panic. But since I didn't, then I guess we'll never know. I don't know.
Yeah, you're a pretty gung ho person, pretty much attack whatever you do.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
you wouldn't think a person like that would get panic,
Yeah,
but it'd get anybody,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I didn't want to go. I mean, I remember saying, nah, I don't need it. I'm not going. I'm not doing that. I'm fine. I'm tough. I'm just gonna gut through this but it does stack. It stacks up. Yeah, it does.
So I treat a lot of problems besides that, you know? But I'd rather treat somebody with panic over depression because it's so much quicker.
Yeah,
you know?
Oh, I know.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, you can get them,
Yeah.
I mean, they're both workable, but one of them goes really fast. I mean, if you really know what you're doing, and if they buy into what you're telling them,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, when those chemicals hit, you have an emotional reaction to it, right?
Yes.
How could you not?
Oh, yeah. How you just have to. It's like it's uncontrollable.
And I
Yeah.
mean, the way I treat it is we got to get, I mean, we got to realize you're having these emotions, basically fear, and not knowing what the heck's going on. And then we got to slowly start understanding what's happening and shift out of the emotional part of your brain and into,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I know what's going on here. You know, I,
You just it's completely
yeah,
have to retrain the brain.
yeah,
I mean, retrain the brain,
yeah.
you know.
I start really understanding what the heck's going on
Mm-hmm.
instead of just reacting to it in fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of simple in a way, you know what I mean?
It is simple. And
Yeah.
it's like when you have panic, you lose confidence.
Hmm.
I mean, you feel like a little kid or something like, you know what I mean? You're just not like now I'm like, oh, I'm not going to have a panic attack because, I can conquer it, But before you're like, ah, you're
But you
just
did conquer it.
yeah, but I like
Yeah.
before you're just like letting it take over, and now you're like, no, I don't need that. You're just like all confident.
Yeah.
You're like, I know how to do this now. It's not gonna.
Well, how do you do it if you're feeling anxious? What do you do?
I just like put the brain in oh, I remember those days. Not gonna have that again.
Oh,
I just kind of go back to the Reiki, breathing or the whatever people do that they like. I'm gonna just put myself into it's all good, and it's just like I'm not somebody who really cares about flying. So when I flew, it's been a year ago, maybe less than a year ago. So what I did, I got on the plane and I'm like sitting next to my daughter and I don't like to fly, but I'm like, I didn't take any drugs or anything, but I just bought a couple magazines and I just looked around and just at the people and it was calming to be around the people. So I just read the magazine and was actually able to focus on the article, which is hard to do when you have that tunnel vision where you're like, the plane's gonna fall apart. I'm gonna die. I just was like, nope, I'm just gonna have a nice, it's the mind. The mind just, like, I could, in the back of my mind, I was a little afraid, but I just wouldn't let it get to the forefront. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna sit here and just read these magazines and look around and visit with the person sitting next to me. And that's what I did,
yeah.
you know?
So
So,
instead of being in fear, you were in a mindful state.
yeah. I mean, I just like figured I'm sure the pilots know what they're doing. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are afraid to fly, so, but they're doing it. And I thought, I'm going to do it too, because I really want to get to that destination without walking.
But you've really got it in the past.
Yeah, it's in the past.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so two of the worst things are those symptoms you're talking about when you feel like you can't breathe.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's, mm-hmm.
that's really personal.
That's
You know?
bad. Yeah. And actually, like for me, this cricoid area, where emergency poke when someone can't breathe, it would contract, which is, part of being very nervous and anxious. I could feel it contract, which was miserable, so.
Yeah.
And the chilling, people you get cold and almost numb in your finger. I mean, there's a lot of really crappy stuff that goes on, you know.
And all those symptoms can be caused by all kinds of different
Oh, it's
things,
just
you know?
crappy when you have all of it going on. You're like, and I am just miserable, you know. Yeah. For people listening, peeing all the time was never fun either. That's something else that comes with it.
I've not heard that one.
Yeah, just going to the bathroom all the time,
Okay.
anxiety, Yeah, it's not pleasant either.
So, well, anyway, I'm glad you're doing so well.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
No problem.
Yeah,
I'm glad that is in the past.
yeah. And I'm glad that you're such a warrior, really, you know?
Well, I spent a lot of money to try to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
But it didn't take us very long to get you fixed either.
No, it didn't. And by the way, all that stuff that I tried to do to prevent the panic attack was really helpful.
Yeah.
It's nice to get massages. It's nice to you learn Qigong and, exercise and, all that was really super like good traits to have, in life. Even if you don't have panic, they're good to have because they're self-care, the kind of the whole health thing,
Yeah.
So I'm glad I learned all that. I mean, I was a little overboard back in the day, but I mean, it was nice to have
I
all of that.
remember I remember you hardly thought we were doing you any good there for a while because you were so busy with other things.
Yeah, you told me if you're panicking over going to yoga class, you might be doing too much. You might be doing too much to stop the stress.
Yeah. Too many good things are making you panic.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So I had someone tell me that I would be good at Reiki, and I'm like, okay, well, what's Reiki? I don't really know, and they're like, well, usually if you go to a massage therapist, someone there may have Reiki and stuff, and it's universal life force healing, with hands, the hands have to be a certain way. It's a very, very old Japanese custom and stuff that was brought over to America. I think in the 1920s they brought it over, but it's been around forever and ever. And it's, way back in Japan. I mean, that is really, Reiki is really putting yourself into that spiritual calming mindset. Really, you have to really focus, to get yourself all balanced like that, to be able to teach that, learn that, know that, feel that, whatever. So Reiki, is what I learned, and I have done Reiki on my friends. And it's, that's basically what it is universal life force healing. I mean, you can read about it in hospitals to help pain, PTSD, depression, anxiety, stress, all of that.
so if you knew you had a panic disorder and you were going to float through it, wouldn't that be a good way of doing
Oh,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. The singing bowls that have a certain hertz that's healing, and that if that's something you enjoy, the sound of those bowls. Some people like the stones, the spiritual stones. These are all things you can incorporate into it. I wish I could find the article. I know I have my Reiki stuff at home that shows that hospitals are using it.
Would you do it with me and let us film it?
Yeah, of course.
There you go.
Of course I would. Yeah, and I would love to know like if you like it or if it did anything for you or I mean everyone that I've done Reiki on has had like a different feeling after the Reiki. It's not massage, where you're
Right.
actually manipulating muscles. It's just universal life force energy. It's really interesting to know that dogs, can have Reiki that have been traumatized. And so the first time I had Reiki, I cried my eyes out because I was so full of grief. And that's kind of one of the things that they say with Reiki, that it heals what needs to be healed
Uh-huh.
at that moment for that person. So,
And it brings up what what's going on,
yeah, it brings up what
what's really
needs,
going on with you.
yeah, it
Yeah.
brings up what needs to be healed. And Reiki is not a religion, it's not voodoo, it's not psychic stuff like it's none of that. It's just universal healing is what it is.
Well, I'd be up for it.
Yeah, that'd
That's
be
for sure.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I could east, yes.
I just had a bike wreck.
Oh no.
Yeah. I've never been knocked out before. And this was like 3 weeks ago. And I don't remember anything.
Oh no.
I
So
was 4 miles away when I had the wreck. And I don't remember getting back on the bike.
oh my
I
goodness.
I got about halfway and I realized I'd been in a wreck, but I have no idea what caused it.
Did you hit your head?
No,
Did someone hit you like a car?
no, I don't know.
You don't know. Oh, that's wow, that is crazy.
But the psychologist explained to me, one of my friends, who's a rehab psychologist, that even though I didn't hit my head, because there's my helmet and it's not scratched, but I kept my head from getting hit, but it didn't mean my brain didn't slosh into,
Oh my gosh.
you know,
So were you on like concrete? Oh wow, oh.
yeah,
Did you get your brain scanned?
not yet.
No.
But I mean, I think it's it's strangest experience,
Is it getting worse or better?
better.
Oh, okay.
And I fell on a hip that's been replaced.
Oh wow. Ow. Gosh.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been myself, but I am now. But I'd say I was, off my mark for a couple of weeks.
My gosh, I bet. Yeah. Did you see like a bruise
Oh
or
yeah,
oh man, yeah.
black and blue my whole leg.
And you don't know what caused it, like maybe a rock or something out there or oh my goodness.
It's a mystery.
Were you going really fast?
I was probably going 12 or 13 miles an
Oh
hour.
gosh, yeah. And you don't have anything surrounding you on the bike. Yeah.
So anyway, that's I've never had it before. I've done a lot of sports, played football, wrestling, all that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of roller skating, motorcycle wrecks, bicycle wrecks. Never had a concussion, but at least I know what it's like now. you know?
It's not funny. I don't know why I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. I don't know if you should get on the bike for a while.
I haven't been on one since.
Yeah,
I
it's
really
like I
haven't.
think I'd take it easy for a
Yeah.
while. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my
I
goodness.
think I'm going to go indoors for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Oh
I
my.
won't have that far to fall if I'm indoors.
Yeah. Well, you really need Reiki now. Yeah. We
Yeah.
need to heal you from the bike wreck.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah. Did it
Anyway,
give
yeah.
you headaches or anything or blurred vision? None of that.
Nothing.
So, yeah.
nothing.
Now you know how football players feel every
I
Sunday.
really do.
Oh, it's like terrible. Oh,
And I would think it would be impossible to not hit your head and have a concussion, but evidently it's that
yeah.
your brain's sloshing against your skull, But we'll have to try that Reiki sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can certainly do that.
We'll talk about like what we would name the podcast because we don't have any idea. I don't know what you would call it.
Maybe we could all of us come up with some names and then democratically vote.
How about revisiting old traumas?
I was thinking just like panic podcast, but it's probably already taken. We could ask people to leave comments too on what they think it should be.
I mean, the idea I had that I invited you to talk about is that, like, you can have panic and think it's a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, it can come
It's
in many
true.
forms.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
You know,
Well, and actually, there's kind of a stigma, with mental illness and panic and depression. People don't want to admit they have these things, It's better now than it once was, but, a lot of people don't want to admit, oh, I really need to see somebody, I've got this going on or whatever,
I mean, to me,
Are we filming?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were
panic
still filming.
disorder is like anybody can have it.
Oh yeah.
You can be
It
this,
knows no wealth or poverty.
you can be
Knows
the
none of that.
strongest
Oh yeah.
hero guy and still have panic disorder. Because I mean, my way of thinking about it, it's almost always. I mean, if it doesn't come out of the blue, it's not panic. Okay, so if it comes out of the blue and you don't know what the heck's causing it, it's probably caused from a lot of stuff that you've been through and you think you've dealt with.
Yeah.
So if you thought you were struggling with all that stuff, it really wouldn't surprise you. But
Yeah.
if you think you're sailing along perfectly fine and you don't realize that it's all built up on you, that's when we, try to come up with the worst thing we can think of to explain it. And,
Yeah, it's crazy how it creeps up on you. Just crazy, but it does. Yeah.
but those fears of what you have are way worse than panic.
Oh yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
realize you have panic, it's like, oh, okay, okay, well, that's better than a heart
Yeah.
attack.
Yeah, exactly. I know, but it's hard to convince someone that
Yeah.
of that when they're in the panic
Mhm.
time of their life. It's hard. I do think, like, what was it for us? Maybe 4 months or something like that. And after I stopped seeing you. I mean, I still struggled. I mean, it took a while. It was just much better. I was way more functional, but it took a while. You
But
know.
then you knew what it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then isn't it less
Oh,
frightening?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Then I mean, it just still took me a while, even for my entire body to get back to normal. The throat, that it was so tight for so long, and just for the muscles, everything, just to feel normal again.
and that's part of why it can hide from you,
Mm-hmm.
because it can cause all kinds of symptoms. There's
Yeah. I don't think anybody's really sympathetic until you've lived it. I mean, you go in ER, I don't think the doctors and nurses are like, you know, real sympathetic. Oh, well, they're having panic,
yeah,
but honestly, for that person, oh, it's bad. You know, it's bad. It isn't the heart attack that might be next door, but I mean, that person that's experiencing it, it's just horrific. It's awful.
yeah. But what makes it so horrific
Just, you're
is,
so scared.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you're
it's
just so
it's
scared.
your it's all these things
Hmm.
that you think are wrong with you.
Yeah, it's just so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once we get it nailed down and learn about what's really going on, then it's less scary, way
Yeah.
less scary.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
think people just live life and they don't realize until they stop and sit with the therapist and they're having panic. Wow, my life really sucked at this time, or I really went through a lot. Like the mountain started to get
Yeah,
high, and
yeah,
here I am at the top of the hill, and no one really they don't think about it. You're just living life, and they're like, wow, that's how I felt. I'm like, wow, I really been through a lot.
yeah. I mean, how personal is it when your identical twin
Oh,
gets
just,
Lou Gehrig disease?
yeah,
I mean, that,
I mean, you're helpless.
yeah,
It's, I mean, I don't want anyone to experience that ever. It's unbelievable. It's so, like, a piece of the pie, half of the pie is gone.
yeah.
Your other half, your best friend, you came out of the womb with that person, and, it just,
Best
I would love to know all of the twins out there that have lost someone
best
if they
friend.
have panic.
Wasn't she your best
Oh,
friend?
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we spoke nearly every day, of our lives. I mean, there was a few days miss, but mostly every day. But it would be interesting to know the people out there that have lost their twin, if they've gone through panic,
yeah.
related to grief.
Be really interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Identical twins.
To know those that
Yeah,
have lost their twin, or even those that, like, never got to meet their twin, where the twin died in the womb. That would be interesting. Like what do those twins feel like? You know, I don't know.
Well, I think you're fully recovered from it now. That's great. That's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think that all that Reiki stuff is just preventative
Yeah, it's
too.
helpful. I mean, it's just super pleasant. It can't hurt. That's how I look at it. It can't hurt, you know?
I do a lot of meditation and I know it keeps me from,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I go through a bunch of stressful stuff, but
Yeah.
I think I take pretty good care of myself in knowing how to relax and knowing how to
Yeah.
kind of go, I've had enough. I can't do one more
Yeah.
thing,
7 hours of psychotherapy is a little draining.
Yeah,
Sometimes you need a day off.
it's, I mean, it's a little draining, but it's also kind of energizing.
Yeah. It's nice to know you're helping people,
Yeah.
and you are.
Especially the stuff that happens quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's one of the reasons I like it because it goes, can make a big impact in a short amount of time.
I would love to know the percentage of people that you've treated for panic, like what caused their panic. Like this percent was grief, this percent was maybe a traumatic event as a child, or this was maybe I just love to know the percentage that got them there. Like was it
I'd say a lot of it has to do with some traumatic childhood stuff. It's way in the distant past that you don't even think about anymore.
yeah, like way, way back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And people that don't get nurtured and don't get protected and that
Yeah.
that takes a toll on you
Oh yeah,
all
that
your life.
that'd take a toll. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I think a lot of it is just living under too much stress for
Mm-hmm.
too long.
For too long. Yeah. I wonder if any of someone gets panic just based on their job,
Yeah.
just the stress of their job.
Yeah.
Maybe they had a great childhood, but then they went into this extreme, stressful job. That's would just be interesting to know, that percentage or was it grief, sexual or physical trauma as a child.
Pretty much it doesn't happen over one thing.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it doesn't happen over one thing. It's that build up, you know. Because I mean, if it's about one thing, we would certainly diagnose it as PTSD,
Hmm.
you know.
It's funny, why does it take us so long to go to a therapist and get it resolved? You think about like, it's 30 years later and you're in this office trying to figure out,
Yeah.
it takes so long sometimes for us to get here.
Well, that's the friggin' mystery of it, though. It's like you don't know how it added up on you,
Hmm.
and then when it hits, it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this must be really terrible because I have no idea why I'm having it. But part of figuring it out is I mean, everybody that I treat, except one person, can say, yeah, I've been through this stress and this stress and this stress. And that one person said, I don't get stressed because I always stay in control. And I said, well, then you're going to have to come in twice a week because that's really hard. Because that's stressful to be in control
Oh
all the
yeah.
time.
That's stressful yes, to rein it in and
That's,
not, yeah.
that's a
Hmm.
different kind of stress.
Yeah, I get, yeah,
You can't let your guard down.
right. Yeah.
Always got to be on top of everything.
Hmm. Yeah, you're trying to be perfect almost, trying to handle everything perfectly is stressful.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
different way to let it build up on
Yeah.
you, you know.
Yeah. I can just remember all the stressful times. I felt fine, it was stressful, but I went through it and, but then like that final straw with my sister's death is like,
How
it's the
could,
final straw.
but how could you not have had panic?
I know. I don't, I mean, I just, yeah.
I mean, it just, that's too big a loss.
It was just too much,
And it wasn't the only thing, you know, but
Yeah.
it all adds up.
Yeah. That was the straw that broke the camel's back right there. I mean, I was going along and I was doing okay and trying, and that was it. That broke me there. I'm like, this is
And if
way too big.
if it hadn't happened, you probably wouldn't have ever developed panic.
I don't think so. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, it's a feeling of like you wake up, and I don't know how people feel that have lost a spouse, but you're like, wow, she's not here, and then the panic starts because you're like, she's gone,
Yeah.
she's not here. I can't get her back.
Now, you remember that fireman I was talking with you
Yeah.
about? Another, this probably dumped him over the top. If this hadn't happened, I think he would have I mean, who knows? But his wife also had some kind of a physical illness,
Oh, yeah. So
and
that added the layer.
and she was in a coma for 12 days
Oh my gosh, that's stressful right there.
and flatlined
Oh my
3
goodness.
times.
Oh man, that's just too
And then the
much.
doctor said, even if she recovers, she's going to be brain dead.
Oh, that is horribly depressing.
And
Yeah.
he had a really good marriage, really close.
Oh my goodness. So what happened to her?
I don't know,
Oh,
but I know
okay.
she was in a coma.
Oh, I hope she came out of
She
it.
did.
Okay, I hope she's
But
okay.
I got to tell you, when he came in and had that, was able to sit in the chair the whole time and felt better for the first time. And it was that EMDR stuff we did.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I talked to her on the phone and she says, I can't believe it. He came home and felt better. Yeah. And now he knows he doesn't have dementia. So
Yeah. I can't believe he thought he had dementia. It is amazing what we get in our heads and think that we have. What's EMDR stand for again?
eye movement desensitization and
Oh,
reprocessing.
okay. Okay.
You've done that to me. Sorry to interrupt, but you've done that to
No.
me, and I thought it was super helpful. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was really cool.
I didn't have that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, it can be really, really helpful. So I want to talk to you about, both of you, about this experience I had. Okay. So I went to the Beck Institute. Okay.
Okay.
Aaron Beck's Institute and his daughter's institute. He's the father of cognitive behavioral therapy.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
he's the real deal. He's no longer alive, but I went back here and spent a couple weeks with him and had a bunch of one-on-one conversations with him. And one of them was about EMDR. Okay. So it's just the two of us talking. Okay. And I said, so what do you think about it? And he says, I don't think there's anything to it. I don't think it does a darn thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I don't think it does a darn thing.
Really?
Yep. And he doesn't think there's anything to the eye movement. But he says the therapy that goes along with it is excellent. Because basically the therapy that goes along with it is cognitive behavioral therapy. I mean, it's perfectly, in my mind, perfectly cognitive behavioral therapy. I mean, so you're not just doing eye movement stuff, you're doing therapy at the same time. And it's kind of an art form to focus in on the right stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, so the therapy is, whatever the issue is, let's get to your negative thoughts about yourself because of your panic, let's say. So this guy that I worked with today, his negative thought was, I'll be trapped and I'll be powerless. Okay?
Wow, that is so like specific.
And I said, "Mm, let me run some ideas by you. Do you think you'll be weak? Oh yeah. You think you'll be helpless? Oh yeah. Think you'll be powerless? Yeah. Okay. So, and the reason I say those three things is that's what we go to when we have a problem that we haven't solved.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't quit smoking. I'm weak, powerless, helpless. And I mean, not everybody, but mainly,
Mm-hmm.
you feel pretty weak if you can't do that. Let's say you're doing porn and you can't stop it. Weak, helpless, powerless. Let's say you're overeating and you can't lose weight. Weak, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just kind of a
it's the same scenario.
universal way
Yep.
of kind of being down on ourselves
Yeah,
for having this
you're in the
problem.
hole for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, you lay out those negative cognitions, and I call it going to the dark side. Okay, so let's go to the dark side. And they say, "What do you mean?" And I say, "Well, let's suppose you have some negative thoughts about yourself. Like, why would I want to go into those negative thoughts? Because if you have them, we want you to get rid of them. You can't give them up if you don't own them. So we go into the negative thoughts about whatever it is." So he was really in favor of the therapy part of it, but he didn't think a darn thing about the eye movement.
That's interesting for the eye movement thing because
Mm-hmm.
I've watched that he doesn't think it because I've watched a lot of things where so the FBI just from the eye movement they can figure out if somebody's lying because if you look one way you're accessing a different part of your brain, if you look another way you're not lying or something like that.
Mhm.
So
Wow, yeah, that's interesting.
But, got to remember when I talked to him about it was a number of years ago, and they
Right.
didn't do some of the research that they
Mm-hmm.
have now, and I mean, I didn't think there's anything to it. I didn't even want to learn it because I thought, that's too flaky.
Yeah,
That's too I mean, it was developed in California, Southern California, and I went,
it's a little different out there.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just too gimmicky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that anymore. I think there's really something to it, and it kind of like I'll do it with people, and like within 30 seconds they'll move into deeper breathing. Like almost every time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
And there's research that shows it shuts off the fight or flight response.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we know it works, and I think mental health just accidentally figured it out.
Probably.
I think they accidentally started using it, but there's really some sciencey about it too.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, so back to the name. I think something about how panic can disguise itself not only to the person that has it, but it can disguise itself to people that are helpers. I think it can. I mean, people legitimately trying to do their best to help them solve it can think it's a stomach problem, can think it's a psychiatric problem, they can think it's a medical problem. I think emergency rooms are getting pretty good at helping people figure out they have panic now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think they're pretty good
I
at
think
being able to
I
say,
think they know. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what to do about it, but
Yeah.
they can help them figure out that
Yeah.
they're not having a heart attack.
Yeah.
But they see a lot of people that have panic that, you know, but sometimes they think it's something else besides that too, when it really is that.
When I went into ER and was freaking out and having a panic attack and all that and stuff, this lady came in and gave me a piece of ice and told me to put it in my hand because it was just kind of a way to focus on something besides the that was going on, and it helped, it helped some. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, to me, it doesn't weight me down to treat people with panic disorder at all. It really
I
doesn't.
mean, that's really interesting when
Yeah.
you say that. I mean, it is because one would think that you might be exhausted.
Yeah. But like I say, I mean, what takes the time is helping them buy into what I'm teaching them. Well, anyway, great having you here.
Yeah,
I
thank
think
you.
we can close it off for today
All righty.
and do it again.
Okay.